Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. We talked about it this morning. Just a monster recruiting weekend for Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers over the next couple of days. And we said, we'll break down the commitments as they start to come in. And Friday afternoon, we get our first commitment. Four-star offensive tackle Adam Guthrie committing to Clemson in the 2026 class. This kid, it starts with the physical traits. 6'7", 285, carries that weight exceptionally well. Not a lot of bad weight on his frame with a basketball background. These are the kids you want to bet on coming out of high school. And there were a lot of programs that wanted to bet on Adam Guthrie as well. You take a look at Georgia offering him, Texas, Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, pretty much all the heavy hitters that kind of are in play on the offensive line on the recruiting trail wanted a guy like Adam Guthrie. And that's something that I think is probably worth noting. We saw Matt Luke do a great job in terms of player development at Clemson in 2024. Like, that offensive line took a massive step in the 2024 year. We expect them to take another step in 2025. A really good player developer. He's also a really good recruiter. And you're starting to see Clemson flex their muscles on the offensive line, on the recruiting trail. A guy like Braden Jacobs in the 2025 class, now Adam Guthrie in the 2026 class. Like where Clemson is going on the recruiting trail in 2026, specifically on the offensive line. And that's huge for Clemson, because you look at it and say, one, you want to make sure you get the offensive line right on the high school recruiting trail, because if there's one position that's really hard to address in the portal, it's the offensive line. So you want to make sure you're stacking these bodies out of the high school ranks. But I think just as importantly, specifically to Clemson, this is a really veteran Clemson offensive line that they have going into 2025. A lot of those guys going to be graduating, going to the NFL after this year. You want to make sure you replenish all those bodies on the offensive line. And Adam Guthrie certainly a guy that's a good start in doing so in 2026. Want to get a little bit into the film, but I think I more just want to talk about where Clemson is going on the recruiting trail and talk about what Adam Guthrie brings to the table. Before we do, and as always, to the Clemson fans, appreciate you guys. And it's been really fun talking this team and previewing what we're going to see in 2025. The boys are very high on this football team, but to the Clemson fans who support the boys and their work at covering the recruiting trail, it's something I personally really enjoyed. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. If we get any more commitments coming out of the weekend, and I get the sneaky feeling that we'll be breaking it down here. Appreciate you guys. Without further ado, let's get into Adam Guthrie. And again, to me, it just starts with 6'7", 285, basketball background, good body, clean body. We see a lot of guys coming out of high school on the offensive line that carry a lot of bad weight, and it's kind of hard to shrink the body down and get the athlete right. And for Adam Guthrie, you probably just want to put on a little bit more good weight as he gets to Clemson, kind of fill that frame out to 315, 320 pounds, of which he's got plenty of frame to do so. But I like these kind of guys because it's a lot easier to get this kid coming in 12 months, put the weight on him the right way, get the play strength where it needs to be. It's a lot easier to do that than take a guy that's 350 pounds with some sloppy weight and try to take that weight off of him. And so I'm a fan of what the projectable future looks like for a guy like Adam Guthrie. Now, as a football player, he's nasty. I think that's where it starts. When you turn on the film, he's doing a lot of he blocks to the whistle and sometimes after the whistle. And that stuff you want to see your offensive lineman wired that kind of way. Some things probably needs to clean up. The functional athleticism, the pass pro sets probably need to get cleaned up. Hand placement, pad level, which is always inherently kind of difficult when you're 6'7" to play with good pads because you're so tall. You kind of trust Matt Luke's going to get that right. Adam Guthrie is one of those guys that has the things you can't teach. You can't teach a guy to be 6'7". You can't teach a guy to have 33+ inch arms. You can teach hand placement. You can teach pass pro sets. You can teach, pad level. And so grab the guys that have the stuff you can't teach, and you can kind of work on the rest with stuff you can teach. I think that's where you sit with a guy like Adam Guthrie. You get into the film and it's fun because he's an aggressive dude. He's a guy that Matt Luke wants to fill his offensive line with these kind of guys. And I talk about the athleticism. It's not bad. He's not a bad athlete. You see him plenty climb to the second level. And when he gets hands on second level defenders, he just does what he wants. mean, he has just such a massive frame that he kind of just engulfs guys. Again, you see him work into the second level, getting out of his stance well, again, which is rare for guys who are 6'7". Getting to the second level, when he has hands on you, he is going to put you into the parking lot, which again, you kind of like to see. Two-way player too, and kind of flashes on the defensive line in terms of some of that athleticism and what you want to see from a get-off standpoint. I like him, and I like the traits that he brings to the table, and I like to see he's kind of wired like a nasty dude, and that's kind of what kind of guys you want on the offensive line when you're getting these kids out of the high school ranks. You see a little bit in the pass pro sets. You probably want to see some stuff get cleaned up, but look, we can teach that. We can't teach the 6'7" in length, but we can teach the rest. And I think that's what Matt Luke and Dabo Swinney are feeling here. This is kind of what I mean. I want those hands up. I want you using all that length. And he's kind of still developing from a technical standpoint. But again, it's a solid athlete, light on his feet. I think there's a lot to like here. You look at Clemson in 2026, doing a nice job building kind of the base of the class over the next couple of weeks and really the next 2 months. This is when Clemson likes to snap their fingers and really build out a class. I would not be surprised come late May, early June, you see Clemson holding 15 to 20 commitments. This is kind of the time period where Clemson, they find the guys they want to add to their program, and they go full court press. A lot of other programs take the approach of, hey, we're just going to cast a really wide net and just recruit everybody. It's never how Clemson is operated. We want to find the guys that, one, are really good football players, two, we think can be really good football players, and guys that fit our program. It's going to be a smaller set of guys, but we're going to show a lot of love to those kind of guys. And I think that's what you're going to see over the next couple of weeks and months. We will close it out there. Any more commitments coming in, we will break them down. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.